What's up guys, Scorpop here. Today I'm going to be explaining how to solo Alysrazor in Firelands on 10 damn normal as a means to farm the Flame Talon of Alysrazor mount. Now understand you can actually solo the Twilight dungeons and get shards and buy the bags from the vendor in Orgrimmar, and you'll be able to farm them out that way. But if you want a more challenging way, fun way to solo this mount, this is how you're going to be able to farm it. I was 499 item level in the videos, so just keep that in mind when you're watching. You're going to need a little bit of heroic gear to do this, as I'm doing it in phase 1. Also going to talk about some talents here. I did swap out talents. I recommend Glyph of Liberation, Glyph of Animal Bond, and Glyph of Misdirection. I did accidentally use Glyph of Aim Shot here, but that wasn't even needed. Due to the buff you get from running through the rings in the sky, all your abilities are going to be able to cast on the move anyways, so there's really no need for this glyph. Oh yeah, by the way, we're going marksman for a couple of reasons. One, you're going to need the extra bit of healing for the ground phase. You'll see here in a second why. And you actually, I'm pretty sure you do a little bit more damage with the extra crit buff at the end of the fight. You'll see me try to burn them down. And I have a bunch of stacks of the ring buff from running through all the rings, so marksman's big damage here. So you're going to see this group of trash at the start. This isn't that bad. There's these two ads in the middle. Just kill them, and then you're going to focus the egg piles that are on the sides. After the egg piles are dead, you're going to focus the two blazing monstrosities. These are the big firebirds. So these giant birds spit a bunch of fire in a direct path towards you, and you can actually do this to your advantage by directing the fire towards all the ads you're going to kill. I use this to kill the egg piles, the ads, and the other blazing monstrosity. It actually affects themselves too, so that will definitely help speed up the process of killing these ads. One thing I also want to mention here before we even start the fight, there is supposed to be a 30% debuff on the boss and all the trash in the instance, but at the moment it appears that it doesn't work. Regardless of that, you can still solo the boss, but if they ever get that 30% debuff working again, this will be far, far easier than it currently is. And here we have Alysrazor herself. So you're going to save your cooldowns at the start. Don't use any of them. You're going to slowly DPS her, and she's going to drop these feathers. Collecting 3 of them will launch you into the sky, and you'll be able to DPS her that way. So I click on the 3 feathers, and once that happens, your pet will be dismissed. That's okay though. So in the air phase here, you shouldn't take any damage. She has a mechanic where she drops 3 things behind her. One of them will be a blazing ring, and the other 2 will be these clouds. Do not hit the clouds. The clouds are bad. Hit the blazing ring every time. You'll get a stacking debuff that'll increase your haste, and that'll increase your damage, so definitely keep building up your stacks here. Now here's where the tricky part comes in. So you need to get a stack of 6 rings. That's how I know it's safe to go down. Once you get 6 rings, you're going to fly back down, and you're going to target these voracious hatchlings. Now this first set of voracious hatchlings need to die extremely quickly, but you also need to avoid as much damage as possible. So you need to wait to attack them until they have the imprint debuff on them. So what this debuff on them does is increases the amount of damage you do to them. So what you want to do here is use every single cooldown except Stampede, and just do your best to kill these ads as fast as possible. Kiting them through the worms is very helpful, because then the ads will eat the worm, and that'll actually keep it from attacking you for a couple seconds without losing the imprint debuff. So this is definitely the hardest part of the fight here, is making sure these ads die extremely quickly. Once the ads are dead, you'll be in the clear to click on another feather and head on up to Alysrazor, and you're just going to DPS her down as much as you can, hitting every single blazing ring on the way. For the most part, she's just going to be flying in a circle around the arena. However, there's one thing you need to watch out for, and that's when she goes down close to the ground. Now, if you stray too far from Alysrazor here, she will actually just completely despawn and reset the fight. So you need to make sure you're very, very close to the boss. Don't stray too far. If you do, the boss will reset and it's over. One thing I also want to mention here is something regarding the ads. Now, the ads, when you go up in the sky, will actually completely bug out and they'll just stand there doing nothing. However, there's a couple things that'll reactivate them. One, you don't want to summon your pet again when you're in the air phase. That tends to bug them out. You'll just have to rely on healing with Chimera Shot, and that's why I also picked up Glyph of Liberation here, is to help with disengaging every 10 seconds and healing yourself in the fight. And you'll see here in phase 3 that you gotta be very careful not to accidentally damage them with like Glaive Toss or something, because if you accidentally attack them, they will reactivate and you could die from their abilities. After a while, the next phase will start. This is where she starts spinning around extremely quickly and has a bunch of tornadoes on the ground. You need to move very close to the ground during this. You can't be in the sky or you'll take a large amount of damage and die. So get close to the ground here. Be very, very careful with these adds. Again, you don't want to activate them. Don't accidentally use Glaive Toss close to them and they will get aggroed. Be very careful here. Just DPS her down. You can see in the video here, I didn't collect any rings, but you can definitely still keep your stacks up and get rings, and it'll kill the boss a lot quicker than I did. So keep that in mind. Avoid the tornadoes. They do quite a bit of damage, so keep DPSing. And hopefully you'll be in the clear here in a second. Once the tornadoes stop, she'll hit the ground and there'll be these 2 adds. You need to interrupt one. You can see here I accidentally did not interrupt one. I interrupted the boss, which did absolutely nothing. So you can actually do a lot better than I did here. Also, you want to pop all your CDs at this phase. Everything. Stampede, if you have anything up, pop it. This is where she takes increased damage, so she'll take a lot of damage here. Also, after this is over, she'll reactivate, and she'll start hitting melee attacks. This is where you need to feign death and let your pet tank. If you don't, you could die very quickly to her, so just let your pet tank and continue DPSing the boss down. Once that's over, you'll be back at phase 1, and you can restart the fight over again. Here you want to pick up the feathers, and from now on, you will just full DPS on boss, and you're just going to try to kill her before she activates the following set of tornadoes, which is luckily a couple of minutes long. So you have plenty of time to DPS the boss. Just make sure you keep your rings stack up. Don't hit the clouds. Don't accidentally summon your pet like I did near the end and risk fucking it up, but just be careful here. Stay close to the boss so she doesn't reset, and you should be good to go. Thanks guys for watching, and have yourselves a good one. Peace.